that later, was when we were able to take you to Israel, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But hi, Cynthia, welcome. And the floor is yours. Tell us a little bit about yourself, your career, your journey to today.
Thank you so much, Pamela. And it's really an honor and a pleasure to be on this Instagram Live. And I hope I'm going to be able to speak loud enough so everyone can hear me. Like Pamela, I actually went to Tufts University as well. I did a graduate degree in international relations at the Fletcher School of Law and Diplomacy, and that was how I ended up in London. I was transferred here as an international economist in 1986, met my British husband, and stayed. And then in 2000, I decided, after an amazing international career running all around the world, that I'd always loved art and art history, that I would go back to do a postgrad in art history, which I did here, fortunately, at Christie's in London, and then had the crazy idea that somehow I could open a contemporary art gallery in my home, which is what I did in 2004. I looked at all the spaces in Mayfair and St. James where, you know, if you are in London, that's where you want to be, because that's where obviously the collectors go and the international people will see you. But the kind of artists that I was starting to represent, there was no way I could have afforded to be in Mayfair, St. James. So I did it from our home, which is part of a converted convent, but then we do our program all over the world as well. So we're in central London a lot, and we were supposed to have a show for Deborah in central London this year, but because of the pandemic situation, we decided to launch her 35-year celebration anyway and launch it online. And so it's just a real privilege that I can talk to you about it and talk to your members as well.
So great. And we're so thrilled. Now, Cynthia, you show all the works from home, but you participate in a lot of art fairs and a lot of different exhibitions. Now, everything, as you said, this has been put to a hold. And you have, it's chapeau to you, because you always reinvent whatever it is you're doing. And you've been able to, you've decided, you called me a few weeks ago and you said, I know it's all put to a hold, but I'm still going to do a retrospective because that's who I am and that's what I do. So what leads you to have such impetus to do this? And you wanted to do this. You didn't decide to wait till September when things go back. You just go and you do it. And I think that's one of the most admiring things about you.
Well, thank you. And I think that, it's obviously there's a lot of competition. There's a lot of noise now. But we were quite well set up in some ways because we have a large Instagram following, both with the gallery, but then also with the Young Masters, which is the not-for-profit part of the prize that we run. So we thought, well, what could we do to keep our audience, our collectors, our supporters engaged? And really, I think we started our online exhibition program literally in May with Carry On Creativity, which is an online exhibition. It's a group show of 30 artists, and we're in that actually is in support of the Trussell Trust, which you may know of about. It's the largest network of food banks in the UK. And we had such a great response to that. And then we also did something called Artist of the Week, and we did that digitally. And we just thought, well, rather than wait, I had a lot of the artwork here in my home gallery anyway. And then Deborah drove here, so we're going to get to see Deborah as well. And we're doing, social distancing. But we just thought it's just such a beautiful work. Why not try to do something, get people engaged, see if we can get interest from our clients. And it's kind of like to it's not just supporting the artists, it's also supporting and promoting and engaging with our audience. And I think that's why we just decided we're going to do it, and it was so great that we could, partner with you and a percentage of 5 of the works that are in the show. So I should say, this is 35-year retrospective of Deborah, and there are 35 artworks in the show, and 5 of them in the curation. We are making donations when we sell to BFAMI, and it's just a circle, a continuous relationship. So it makes sense because. And then I'll tell a little story about some of the works maybe when I go into the other room.
So Cynthia, work in a couple of minutes, but I wanted to touch on something that you do that's really incredible, and some of our viewers, I'm sure your clients and your friends all know about it, but just to highlight your Young Masters Art Prize. We've had some beautiful works given to the BFAMI Gala in the past from some of the recipients of your prize. But tell us about it, how you started, because I think not only, there's a big difference between being an art professional and a philanthropist, but you're an art professional, you're a philanthropist, but you also, it's so important to you to bolster the careers of young artists. And I think more than ever in cities like London, where it's so hard for them to get a foothold, it's so expensive, it's, you need to be so connected, and you do such an incredible job for these artists. Tell us a little bit about the Young Masters Prize before we move on to Deborah.
It was a couple of things, the reason I wanted to start it. One, it was in 2009, so we had our 10-year anniversary last year. Because I'm quite academic, and when I went back and did my postgrad, it was an academic course, and I was missing. I guess I was missing some of the intellectual rigor and the curatorial aspects of being a gallerist. Because I'm a gallerist, and I say I'm a gallerist curator, but obviously as a gallerist, it's very much it's commercial, it's admin, it's all this stuff. So I felt like I really wanted to follow that path a little bit more. And also, I kept seeing all these incredible young artists who were linking their work to the past, and in all kinds of different ways. So it wasn't just old masters, like, old Renaissance masters. It was just artists that were looking at their historical past and paying homage. So that's how I came up with the idea of young masters. So young meaning emerging. Right. There's no upper age limit. There never was. So I was even before the Turner Prize. I didn't have any upper age limit. And masters is really meaning artists that are looking at the past and through their work and whatever engagement of that past there is for them. So it could be any background, culture. It's not strictly, an old Renaissance past. And if I'm just going to move really quickly.
We'll follow you.
Because I'm going to show you. So this, we've done. Last year was our 10-year anniversary, and it was incredible. We had 850 applicants from 67 countries, wow, which was amazing. And we had, I think, in the end, artists were from 28 countries. And in some ways, the cover of this last year's catalog really says it all, because this was the youngest applicant we had, and it's a South African artist from Limpopo called Giggs Kigali.
That's fabulous.
And it's just amazing, and he has so much within him that he talks about his historical background with his ancestors in South Africa, and so that was really, really rewarding, and we helped him a lot. He won. We did a People's Choice Award, and he won that. So it's, these kind of things, these are so rewarding. And many of the alumni of Young Masters have gone on to be collected by museums and get, gallery representation, sometimes from us, but that's not a requirement, but, from other galleries. And what we also try to do regularly when we do our international exhibitions and art fairs, we always have a section where we curate and dedicate it to the Young Masters. And it was really funny because the first time I did it in Miami, some of my clients were sort of like, well, this doesn't look like Deborah Azzopardi or Andrew Burgess. And now they're so used to it, they walk on my stand and say, show us the new Young Masters. No. So it's so rewarding. It really is.
Cynthia, you have a good fan who says that you are a young master. One of the comments that are showing. So that's very nice. Yes. Cynthia, we could speak about Young Masters and what you do to the career of emerging actors for hours, but artists. I think let's introduce now Deborah's work. I would love to, before we walk to Deborah where she is, would love if you could introduce us how you met Deborah, what was your relationship, and then we can look at this fun, fantastic pop work that she does. So if you can give us an introduction to her before we meet her in person and show us a little bit around what you have.
Sure, I would be delighted to do that. Well, Deborah and I met a little over 10 years ago when she phoned me one day and just said, hi, this is Deborah Azzopardi, and you are going to represent me. I said, really? Okay. Oh, who are you? And literally, she said, please come for tea tomorrow. I did. I drove up. I walked in her studio, and I was just floored. I just couldn't believe that I hadn't known her, but I hadn't known her, but I knew vaguely of her images, if that makes any sense, because she had, by that point, she had already started her publishing career. So I kind of was aware of her, but not her as an artist. And we just started to work together, and I started to show her at art fairs and in my home gallery, and then at the time, Cork Street was where I used to do all my London programming, and we did 2 wonderful shows there, and we also had the assistance of the great Estelle Lovett, who's really
who I believe is online.
Yeah, so it was just I think it was like a match made in heaven. I'm very American, effervescent, and incredibly enthusiastic and passionate, and Deborah is very methodical, and she just gets on with her work and paints these just incredible narrative and positive and incredible paintings. And I'll let her talk a little bit about how she started, what her inspiration was, her time with Disney. But I just have to say that it has been such an incredible working relationship, and the response that we've had of her work wherever we go, it's just been incredible. We have collectors. I don't know. I think we have collectors in probably every continent of her work, and her publishing really is has made her maybe more her images notoriety of her images, but then her art practice it's really serious. This I'm hoping in retrospective, and on the cover is Shush. And so in this retrospective, one of the really amazing things about it is that Deborah is offering to the marketplace some of her original pieces that she has never offered. So Deborah does original paintings on both on board and on paper. So if I can I point out things behind me now, if that's okay. So for instance, I'm in front of the very iconic Bing Bong, which is very special for your viewers to see this, because people might have seen the limited edition silkscreen of Bing Bong that she has done, but very rarely has anyone seen the original. So this is the original painting. It's I put it on board.
It's fantastic.
And next to, and next to it is a very cute little original painting. So she does also do smaller paintings, and this the one next to it hasn't been published yet, and it's called Femme Fatale. So that will have a different price point. And I loved the way we curated that. And then if I can go to...
We follow you. We love being in your home, Cynthia.
My crazy home. I haven't seen it.
It's fun.
It's a little bit late. So I'm in front of what did you say? Mm-hmm. Which is actually
We Know Well.
And I love the blonde hair, the red lipstick, the retro phone, and the title of this is Gossip. And again, the contrast in this in her work. This is a limited edition silkscreen print.
Okay.
Only 10. And the original of that, which was that big, sold. I think it sold in 2016 for I think it was about $50,000. Mm-hmm. So that's kind of a little bit of the journey. And then may I point out the Save the Date, which is next to it.
Yes, which we love.
Because also some of your BFAMI supporters might know this is a limited edition silkscreen print number of there's 15 of them, and one of them was donated for this year's January gala.
So we showed this work at Christie's, and then we auctioned it at our gala at Battersea Art Centre very successfully too. So thank you, as always.
And Anka was and Jill from Christie's, they were so great because, well, I'm sure the curation was complicated to do, but as you walk downstairs to Christie's, there was right below BFAMI was the Save the Date, and it was really special.
Well, it's a great work. It's a great work.
And then you're seeing some other things as well in here, because obviously it may not be how most people would curate their home, but this is a home gallery, so it's a mix of personal things that are in our collection, and also young masters. So that is that work is Fabiano Carizzi, mm-hmm. who was a young master in 2014. And then, if I go this way, these are very special. This is Matt Smith, who won the first inaugural Young Masters Malus Grand Ceramic Prize. And then, we must point, this is Lucille Lewin, who
we love that.
You will know again because she donated a work of art to BFAMI in 2019. So there's a lot of little connections here.
I love seeing it. It's seeing the catalogs of our BFAMI Gala through your eyes, basically. It's wonderful.
Oh, no, it's so special. So shall we move?
Yeah, so why don't you take us now to Deborah and to the work on the way, and then we can introduce Deborah to all the viewers.
We're going to the yellow room.
Wonderful. And we see some fantastic work. I think hopefully as soon as lockdown is over, Cynthia, I'm bringing a busload of supporters to your home so you can show us everything in life, because it's too good not to.
Oh, I would love that. And maybe show us
Deborah. How are you?
Very well, yes, Deborah.
Right, I love that you are very strictly maintaining your 2 meters separate, although you could be, I wouldn't mind being in a socially distant bubble with Cynthia. Welcome, Deborah. I'm sure you heard me from the other room, but I wanted to firstly thank you being with us and doing this wonderful interview. But not only that, thank you for all the support and all your generosity to BFAMI over the years. As Cynthia, like Cynthia, you've been coming to all our events, huge smile, such a supporter, meeting the patrons who buy your work and always blindly donating it. So we can't thank you enough, really. It's such a pleasure. Well, welcome, Deborah. I think a lot of our viewers have been mesmerized by your work. We've been, those who didn't know it have been seeing the fabulous shots of all the incredible drawings. But we would love to hear a little introduction to your career. What was your journey? How, I couldn't believe when Cynthia said it's a 35-year retrospective, because you must have started very, very early. But perhaps you can give us a bit of insight into that journey and how you got here.
It's literally work. It's a lot of painting, but art gives you a wonderful flexibility in life, because you can manage your children, your life, your home, everything that you want to do. So it's a lot of fun if you love the art, but you have to build up a huge body of work before you can think, okay, I've got something here. So when I thought, okay, I've got, it sort of runs away with itself. But when you think you have something, it's a passion. It's just what makes you happy. I need art to make me happy, and I'm happy painting the art. Which needs which first?
Oh, and your art makes people happy, Deborah.
I hope so. I don't know. I
mean, it can't but make people happy. I have to say, if I had to be confined in that yellow room full of your art, it would be okay. I would. And how this imagery started, and I know a lot about it, but our viewers not how you started working, and your relationship with Disney, and your incredible skill, and how that developed into the work that we see around you now.
Well, I was a license holder with Disney, but only for a couple of years. And Disney has a very, very, very high standard. You can't just copy a Disney. You have to have their authority. You have to meet their authority. They have to see every single piece that you painted. You have to use their colors. It's very exact, but it's fun and it's lively. My biggest accomplishment with them really was painting the Christmas display of Mickey's Christmas Carol for Leicester City Council, because it was many figures. It was telling the whole story of Tiny Tim, Mickey's Christmas Carol, and then seeing it, the real figures cut out in wood being displayed outside Leicester City Council City Hall. But that was a long time ago. That was literally 35 years ago. Then after that, I just wanted to develop my own things, and I can really paint anything, but I liked pop art. You only want to do what makes you happy. So it just developed from there. So I started, then eventually it's overwhelming, really, because suddenly you realise, well, I've got more here than I can actually handle. You can't keep on handling the clients yourself. So I approached Cynthia, and Cynthia's been doing the job for me ever since, because you can't just be an artist. You have accounting, shipping, you have books, you have
a lot, yeah.
It's a lot. It's a lot, and I couldn't handle it all. And apart from that, my work's been published for at least 20 years. So the publishing side, is when people see a print, they wouldn't necessarily know if it was a man, a woman, a computer. We didn't have computers then, not in that way. So, it resonated with people. They didn't know my name. And then slowly, 35 years later, I think they know. They recognize the style. It's something that makes it available to people, which is lovely. And then there's the other end, which is the original painting in limited editions, which you see here, which are handled through Cynthia, and it's a different distribution and allocation.
So, Deborah, tell us about the process before you start a new work. Where does the idea come from, the imaging? And I really need to hear about the titles, because the titles of your works are just fantastic, and they have so many references, whether they're from music or movies. So I need to hear all about this.
Well, the titles are just fun. I don't really know where they come from, but it's just an idea. And sometimes I think, oh, is that title okay? No, that's a bit much. No, that's all right. But you have to think very fast. It's very, very fast moving. I have to set a scene. So if it's a girl in a car, I have to find the car and the girl. I just finished a painting that I like of two people in a bath. But I actually did get them in the bath. They were two people. The young lady had modelled for me before the lost earring. I don't know if you're aware of the lost earring. She hasn't really lost her earring, but it's titled the lost earring. And that was probably about 10, 15 years ago. But in fact, I think
we're going there. Ooh.
Yes, it's
not at all about the earring.
She hasn't really lost her earring,
but she's got a very nice derriere, I must say.
She's got a fabulous derriere. And this girl has actually, well, she's now grown with 2 years later. Her and her husband had just modelled for me, but in the bath. And, you know, we could call it Save Water Bath with Neighbour, Bath with Friend. That's a really old 70s, you know, caption that we said then. But something, I haven't quite decided on the title. But I literally had the bath, had the people, and we put them in the bath. I haven't shown Cynthia this painting yet, so I must show her.
I love that. I want to see that, please.
Yeah.
Well,
actually, funny enough.
Does the title come sometimes before the painting?
You know, each painting takes about 3.5 months. And I have the pleasure, it's a delight. It's really quite thrilling, immortalising these people. It's lovely. I've seen this girl grow, and now she's getting married. She has her husband and her home. And in fact, I showed them just last night. I sat down in my studio, and they were both in bed. He's wearing his shorts. She's wearing her pyjamas. I said, look, I've finished it. Would you like to see? So we did a WhatsApp where I literally showed them the painting. And it's wonderful to see their reactions. They could see that it was them.
That's great.
And we'll see what happens. The whole painting of the journey. The title I haven't really fully decided yet, but I'll decide.
It will come.
Send it to you.
Tell me.
Would you like to know these?
Yes, I wanted to discuss with you Love is the Answer Behind You, which is such an incredible, iconic image, obviously, of our beloved Amy Winehouse. Well, and I know there's a lot of history and to that piece. So why don't you talk about it a bit? I don't know if you or Cynthia want to.
Well, after speaking with Janice and Mitch Winehouse and the family were very, very giving. We had lots of stories on Amy. I had to come up with my own interpretation. So this is really a painting. It's not exact, you can tell, but it's only to capture the emotion. And it's only the emotion that I felt. But I have to be kind to the world, kind to my thoughts, kind to the family. And it's true. Art can capture many things in an image that words sometimes can't. So that's what I was trying to achieve. And of course, love is the answer. Mm-hmm. We know that. And really, it's taking the icon of the shush painting that is so well known and putting in the icon of the pop star. The two just married up. In fact, when I thought about it, I thought of many. The whole painting took over a year, and there were many. It's quite special because Janice and Mitch and myself have all signed it. And it's, I call it a piece. It's a real piece. There we are.
That's wonderful.
So it's quite special. I felt it was a little bit like, imagine if Marilyn Monroe had signed her Andy Warhol painting, or her parents had been so actively supportive in her career.
And Deborah, you contacted the family shortly after Amy had passed, or it was a bit after? Or you knew them before? Deborah? Oh, I think we're having a bit of a technical problem. Right back with you. They're almost waiting. Sorry, everybody, it's coming. It's the problem with the internet is that it's not always as reliable as we would like it to be. But I think they're going to be joining us just shortly. Are they? Let's see. Hello? My viewers are telling me that they are there. I can't see. I've been told that she is there. Okay, we're gonna hold on a second, please. ¿Cómo se invita? Sorry, everybody. Stay tuned. Just have a bit of water or coffee while you wait. Hello. Hi, you're back. We lost you.
Yes.
Hello, Deborah. Can you hear me?
So then, yes, I can perfectly. So I think you would then, were your eyes going to the may I come in?
Yes, please. Let's move to may I come in.
She's not really saying may I come in because she's going anyway, even if they say no. But she's quite forceful, but she's very polite and ladylike, and she's saying, may I come in? You can see she's beautifully dressed. We don't, there's no more than that.
Just on YouTube.
And something called Brian May.
Oh, well, yes. I don't want to.
Okay, you don't want to. No. Okay.
And is there anything else?
Yes, of course. The girl with the diamond earring.
Oh, I love so this is.
Do
you want to get a bit closer just to show the words? This is the girl with the diamond earring. I've been swept off my feet. I can't think. My heart feels all mushy. And then maybe go a bit backward. I've stopped the comments so that everybody can see the whole.
And the crushed diamond in the earring.
There's the diamond earring.
And the original of this piece was the first time that Deborah donated to BFAMI in 2013. Also with Christie's doing the viewing and the auction, and that was at the Roundhouse.
Yes.
In 2013.
So this is a little take on the girl with the pearl, the premiere. But it's also when your heart was in bed or your head was in heart. And there is that moment that we can get mushy. Normally it's I'm hungry and what's in the fridge, but this could be over love or with anything. Following from that, where
Great Escape?
The Great Escape or the Bring might be easy.
And the Bring? The Bring.
So the Bring is, nobody is the landlord.
Wait, Deborah, we are having trouble hearing you. Just maybe speak closer to the phone.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, that's better. Thank you.
Okay, so this is a retro phone, as you probably now know. They were probably in the 70s and 80s. I remember distinctly my phone ringing in the lounge, and you'd have to turn off the television, and everybody would hear your conversation. There's a very wonderful comedian called Lynn Ruth Miller, and she says a poem that just always makes me laugh. Roses are red, violets are blue. I remember landlines, how about you? And I think that this painting depicts it all. It's just for fun. It's just a phone, and it's just fun. Next to that, we have Guilty Pleasure. This is a flaky bar of chocolate. I think I was actually at a dinner party with a friend. She made a beautiful dinner. And right at the end, the chocolate placed in the middle of the table. And we're all thinking, should we, shouldn't we? We've had enough. No, okay. And my friend dived in, who was next to me. She ate a chocolate. And I whispered in her ear, bite it. Because you always have this guilt. She said, what? I said, bite it.
Yes.
And so that's actually, it's all real people. This beautiful girl, The Great Escape.
Yes, say the title again. The Great
Escape. She's okay. She's cool. Everyone should have a red dress, let alone a little black dress. And she's happy, and she's perched through a window of a silver shadow Rolls Royce, and she's just having a great time. She's not really caring too much about anybody else, but she's off. So her life is good. So that's the collection, I think, in the Yellow Room.
And do you want to talk a tiny bit about the habitat, which is the brain, the May I Come In,
oh yes,
the Bing Bong, which they also saw, and then there's two works, obviously.
So the habitat and look at that. They created quite a long time ago. They created a data pack.
2008.
Okay, it's a long time ago still. And they created a dating pack which were 5 or 6 by 2 cards, and they used those images in the dating pack, which was Ring, Bing Bong, which was my neighbour's doorbell, and what's the other
May
one?
I Come In?
And May I Come In? And so it was a fun, exclusive little pack that they were doing at the time. So you could buy the pack, and so each image resonated to dating. So
Love them.
it was just a nice little collection. Yeah, it was fun.
And then also The Secretive, and I can find it.
Secretive. Oh, the secretive. It's the finger on the lip. Well, yes, of course. But do we have that in the other room? I can't remember.
No, that's in America.
Oh yes.
But it's in the show.
It's little teas. Everything with the little teas is to provoke or to annoy or just to make you think.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
have the fun in painting people. Anyone can think whatever they want.
No,
When they're looking at them. It's very interpretation.
I think they're all, when you look at them, you think they're just a fun work, but then there's so much more depth. They make you think, they make you happy. I think the titles are fantastic, the words below. And I think you probably have a very different audience depending on the country, because I'm sure if you look at it, you think, oh, it's a very young and sexy piece of work. But as Cynthia's told me, it is being collected all over the world and all ages, and it's one.
There's very big collective because, of course, when your work is published, it's available from bedrooms to library to students to accommodation. There's hotels where they have the shush in every single room. I don't even know.
Yeah.
It's vast. But then to have an original piece or to have a limited edition, it's very special. Of course, when I started, I never knew that they would end up being collector's pieces. This is something else, and it takes a very long time to do. They don't sell like lollipops or anything like that.
Sadly.
It's special.
Yeah.
So it's just got its own little thing going on now.
Wonderful. And Deborah, I know you're doing that wonderful work you talked about, but what's next? I mean, if this is the last 35 years, what's ahead for Deborah Azzopardi?
Just more. Just more and more. I mean, I'd like to slow down a little bit. Sometimes I'd like to rest.
No, never. No rest for the wicked.
No rest for the wicked. But I love what I do. So, that's nice. There might be another book here or there, or more paintings. There's definitely more coming through. But it takes time. It takes a lot of research, and you have to get it right. You can't put a knee where a kneecap isn't. You have to, there's a lot to think about, there's a lot to do, but it's the aha moment. It's something that will make me smile or just make me say, oh yeah, that's nice, I can roll with that. So it's truly all of those moments, all of these just moments.
Yeah, you can see, you really capture those moments. You really capture them.
I try, I hope so, if somebody else shares my humour. And some are more serious, and some can also be a little sinister.
Yeah,
but
sure.
it's all to live with, to be easy with,
And I know that Cynthia, you've put together a very extensive catalogue of all the works that are available. That should anyone be interested, obviously they can contact yourself and the gallery, and we're happy to put everybody in touch. You both have very generously. We thank you. Cynthia, you came to Israel with us 4 years ago, I think we went. Was it 4.5 years?
2017.
2017, exactly. We've had another trip. And it was your first time in Israel. We're very proud to take you among a whole group of patrons. And we traveled high and land, the whole country, and showed you the magnificent cultural institutions that we support and that you support by supporting us. What did you think of that trip?
Well, for me, it was really a dream come true. I had always wanted to go to Israel. and it was just so amazing. The beauty and the vibrancy and the diversity. That was also very, very interesting for me to see how culturally diverse Israel is. Obviously being on a trip with you and being able to see the institutions you support, that was really incredible. Because obviously the big museums like Tel Aviv, like the Israeli Museum, they have a very strong curatorial program internationally. But then to go to some of the smaller museums and to really see the impact that the educational program that BFAMI does, it made it kind of like it just made it so clear how the importance of the work. And then I got to go to the holy, the holy center. I was in Jerusalem, and the Holy Sepulchre, and it was just a really incredible trip. I can't wait to go back.
We will go back.
And I just found it. I mean, very, very positive, and very, very diverse, and not what you'd necessarily think. I think when unfortunately sometimes you see the news, but the kind of impact, though, that was what really struck me, was being able to see the impact of the donations.
Yeah.
In some ways, just very, very basic places. Because obviously you're at a gala and it's all very fancy and wonderful art and things. But then to go on the ground and see the work, it's really something.
Thank you. No, it was really, I think, we love the institutions we support, and we do it because we believe so strongly in them. But it's wonderful to see it through someone else's eyes when we're able to bring them and show the impact than our cultural program in London, our gala, our Women in Arts, and all the work that, thanks to the galleries such as yourselves, the artists such as Deborah, that when you donate the work, that we're able to take that and convert it into funding our programs in Israel, which you witnessed, puts it all full circle. And I think it's the dream come true, which is why it was so important to come into your gallery, your home, get to know Deborah a bit better, see her fantastic work, which, we need to all get to know better. And I would love if I can see more and more BFAMI supporters with some of your work in their walls, and get to know the two of you even better. We can't wait to bring you in person to you. Hopefully this lockdown will soon ease off and we can go back to galleries, to museums. Some of them are opening next week, which is fantastic, in London. In Israel, the two main museums, Tel Aviv museum has opened. Some of the smaller museums have opened. Jerusalem is opening. So there is light at the end of this tunnel. And I think culture, art, and creativity will bring us all back together sooner than later.
Yes. Can I just say one thing? With the government freeing up things next week, so what we're going to do, and I can email that to whoever is interested, we are going to allow private appointments here.
Great.
So while we're having this lockdown, but once we don't have that, we can actually invite you here. We've got a really big garden. We can have a glass of wine.
Be careful, we're all coming. Great. Cynthia, Deborah, thank you so much for spending the afternoon with us, for letting us into your home, beautiful home, Cynthia, Deborah, to let us into your world. We love it. We want more. We want to know even more now, which is great. Have a wonderful afternoon, and thanks again for all your support, for everything you do for us, for the arts, and for just making all our lives better with your beautiful arts and contributions.
Thank you. You're quite amazing, Carol, I must say.
And thanks to all the wonderful viewers who are sending gorgeous comments. I can't read them all because then I can't concentrate, but Poyu says hello, our co-chair, and all the members of our committee who are online who say, Cynthia, you're the best. You've always